next week?
You know what? Actually, I pitched that to the marketing team, and
Uh,
hopefully they're on it because I could sing. I have a guitar here. You
all
want to
right.
do
Well,
this?
yeah, we'll come
Is
up
it a
with a better
little
idea. But no, we're definitely getting some intro music for next week for sure.
good? Because I'm not that good. It's
All right.
just there for a prop.
Okay.
So it's tax season, dude. I want to talk about something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Income planning.
Right.
Because I've I made a couple of mistakes when I first got started. I
hmm
was taking dividends, and I don't know which way to go. You listen to your accountant.
So let's get something squared away first.
Yeah,
You should never ever take advice from your accountant, a CPA. Okay, someone that is bound by regulation that can give you tax information. So that's a management accounting. They're a little better, but the best person to get advice from in when it comes to tax, okay, tax lawyer. If you're going to play the game smart, you're going to get yourself a tax lawyer, especially if you plan to make money in the business. Even if you have a little bit, it's not how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. All right, and we all know anyone that lives in Canada or any of the highly taxed places, one of the big things we deal with is we've got a 50%, 60% tax rating, where if you don't know the tax, or you have someone really good on your side, you're gonna forfeit a lot of your profit, right?
yeah. I
And
think the 50-60% tax thing is going to be outdated by the time this actually goes live
yeah, probably be higher.
because it keeps going higher.
Yeah,
It's insane.
for sure. So, from a bookkeeping perspective, let's talk about that first. Where should the actual amount that the owner is being paid go? Now, a lot of people make this big mistake, and this becomes problematic for understanding your profit loss. Okay, so very boring topic, but I'm going to tell you exactly. Do not put it in the owner's equity section. Okay, so whether you're taking draw, whether you're taking salary, whatever, however
Mhm.
you're taking it, and that would be on your tax situation. All right, you do not want to put it there, and the reason why is that it's going to mislead you on your books, and also, again, it's going to misguide you on your profitability. So, where I suggest that you put it is owner's expense. Okay, owner's expense, and that's its own cost code or its own thing in your chart of accounts. All right, now, how much should an owner get paid? This is a good topic.
Yeah, yeah. I'd
I've
love to hear
I've
it.
always played by the rule of thumb that my best paid um, field service technician or field guy, all
Mhm.
right, I take the same salary as him. All right, and I match his salary. Okay, that's the way that I've done it for years. You should never, ever, ever not take a salary. All right, or some sort of
Right.
paid, being paid because you're working in that business. The problem is owners don't take it. Okay, and then they inadvertently set their business up to be even more dependent on them. Okay, so too many times, if you want to know if you're actually profiting, start taking your paycheck. How much money is left?
That's a
Right,
good
start
point.
paying yourself. The other thing too is, like, again, if you're not paying yourself and you're not planning your business around the work that you do, okay, the chances of it getting implemented down the road and then actually being followed through are very, very difficult, right? And then when we start to make money, we haven't accounted for that. Okay, we haven't planned for that. So I feel like every business, every owner should take a salary at least equal to their their number one field technician, in my
Right.
opinion. Okay.
Right.
In terms of the liability and taxes, again, kind of a boring topic, and I'm not accountant, so blanket clause here. I'm
Full
not accountable.
disclosure.
I'm not
Yep.
giving you financial advice. I'm not a CPA. None of that kind of stuff. But I've always felt that, again, at the end of the day, your tax lawyer will probably have it come out in the way of a dividend, right? So, I mean, mine's paid out that way, but it's paid out again as owner expense, and then that's reverted into, a dividend that's been taken from the business. Okay,
Right.
but it comes out weekly. I'm paid, just like everybody else. Now, one thing that I did run into and encounter, if you're planning or if you're using your business for financing a home or financing something in your personal life, okay, um, the what you have to understand is there's two types of lenders. Okay, and this is primarily in Canada. So, like, if anybody's out there confused, any of my U.S. friends, this is totally different where you're at, but not a lot. If you can afford it, all right, and it makes sense, it's okay to become on the books employee. All right. But I've only done that in times where I was borrowing or leveraging money for, my personal house. And it was
Right.
many, many years ago, like a long time ago. I did that. And again, you need that. The way that a traditional bank will look at you is you've got to have an income. You got to have a T4. You got to have those things. But
Yep.
there are lenders out there that will totally lend you on your business and what your profitability is and stuff on that. And you're going to pay a few points higher, but you still can get finance through that.
Yep.
So
Yep.
misconception is you have to have, and I think a lot of guys struggle with raising capital. Um, Another really wise tip here, a little more advanced, have a holdings company. Never have anything that is in your actual corporation. I can't stress
Right.
this enough. All right, think of your vehicles, think of all of the assets the business owns, including the name. All right, so the name of your company should be owned, all right, by a holdings company.
Right.
All right.
And that's for liability reasons,
Right.
obviously.
So it's being leased back to the numbered company. All right. And again, think about it this way. You do not like the liability is all held in the corporation. Okay. They're then funding and paying for the holdings company. All right. The holdings company is showing regular reoccurring revenue. What do you think you're going to get more credit on?
That's right. Well,
Right.
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, in terms of structuring your business, and this is more advanced, you want to make sure that you're limiting your liability. You want to make sure that you're paying yourself first. One book that I really highly recommend, in terms of guys that are struggling with this kind of topic, is Profit First. All right.
I've
Total
heard
Bible
about
for
that. Yeah.
yeah, it's a system for accounting, and it falls in line with a lot of the stuff that we teach. I implemented it when I was first kind of starting out, and it doesn't take you as far as it needs to, but essentially it's a basic principle. All right, all the profit that you're going to make or that you've scheduled for a job or for a project, you're going to
Hmm.
take it first, put that in a bank account. You're going to take your tax liability, you're going to put that in an account. You're going to take the material liability, you're going to put that in account. So again, it's just a way of distributing things so you can see top of line,
Right.
and the owner gets paid. And that's the principle that, you always want to follow, is that the owners always take the loss. That's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not a business. A business is the way that it's set up is that, again, you could take a loss in a business, but it should be the business absorbing it, not you. And I know better in process. I think most guys mistake that the business is not them. Okay.
Yeah, especially on the low level. I mean,
For sure.
especially in the startup stage, you don't know
Absolutely.
what the hell to do. You barely
Well, and
got
they
enough
don't know how to
revenue.
get to profitability, right? They
Right,
don't know
right.
how to, and then again, like there's lots of tactics and strategies, but at the end of the day, you have to look at everything as clear as this. All right. Should you get a paycheck? Yes. From the start of your business, you should be paying yourself what it is that you would have gotten in a regular job, or why do it?
Yep,
And if
yep,
you can't afford to do it, then you're obviously not pricing properly. All right. And at the end of the day, that's the bigger problem we avoid is we take jobs, we take things because we think we need to, and we work for less than we would have made if we just kept our job where we were at,
yep,
right? And
for
we're
sure.
working all these more hours. So if your business can't afford, it can't afford you, right? So that's not a business. That's a low paying job that
That's a
you've
job.
you've
Yep.
shown up to and have given a lot of liability and risk to. So best thing to do there is either raise your prices or go back and work for someone and make real money compared to what you're making, and save yourself the aggravation.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but
Hmm.
it's you're absolutely right. What about paying family members? Like I know there's some contractors out there that have their wives on or husbands on payroll, sometimes even children.
So I can't really speak too much to that. What I would really emphasize here is don't like separate all of that. Treat your business the way it should be. One of the worst things that we see a lot of, and try to get people's books and stuff caught up and cleaned up, is that they use their business for personal expenses.
Right, right, right.
And that's a big no-no. So like again, you should have a separation of expenses. Like that's why you need to pay yourself a paycheck. So you're not using business accounts to finance things personally. All right? And it makes accounting bookkeeping so much more harder, so much more difficult. right? So even more so than that, like keep the personal stuff personal, keep the business stuff business, right? Separate it. If you're paying a partner on salary, again, depending on your situation or your, like, it's not always the worst idea, all right? But definitely, again, you got to know why you're doing that. And if it was an accountant, make sure that you're getting good advice. Make sure you're going to good people, tax lawyers, smarter people than me that know what they're talking about, and that they're setting you up to reduce the liability and to actually plan for taxes, because you can plan those if you're planning to make money, just like we stress in Contractor AI. We have to plan to make profit. We have to plan, because if you're not planning, you're not looking ahead, you're going to get taken out. Like if you're operating day to day, all right, and you can't see that 90-day plan, that 180-day plan, guys, like you have zero chance of really succeeding at what you're doing.
Yeah, the
Zero.
problem is by the time we realize it,
It's too
and I
late.
know I've made these mistakes
Yeah.
in the beginning too, right? I'm
Mhm.
not immune to them for sure, but by the time we realize it, it's too late.
Right. So, and again, it's the neglect of the important things, right? So, as a business owner, so you ask a business owner what's important and what they should do first. You ask me, and I'm going to say, pay the tax man, right?
Absolutely.
Don't ever neglect paying your taxes. Pay them first. You know why? Most expensive bank in the world. Okay. You want to borrow money from them? Like that. I've seen more businesses make that mistake and, go under or be like, be obsolete. And here's the thing, a bank, like they're not looking to work with you either. All right.
No, they don't
You
care
work
whether you
for
exist
them.
or not. Yeah,
You work for
absolutely.
them. And,
Yep.
and again, there's no negotiations on those stuff. And so for me as a businessman now, I know the first people that get paid are the government. We
Yep.
don't mess around with that. Okay. The next person that's getting paid is me. All right. Don't mess around with that. All right. The liabilities that come down to it. And then we go down the line. So it's opposite to what the way that most owners think. But again, it's come from, making the mistake, using the bank account for my personal. So if you're not taking a draw and you're putting all that personal stuff on your business, how do you know if you made a profit or not?
No,
How do
you
you
don't
know?
know. And
Right.
technically speaking, you're taking a draw just in the
Right.
wrong format,
And
right?
then the government
And it's a
sees that,
mess.
and all they do is audit.
Red
It's
flag.
audit time,
Yep,
right? Red
red
flag,
flag.
red flag, red flag. And they're getting better at this stuff. They're getting scarier with the implementation of AI and everything else that they can do. They can go through a bank statement in 2 minutes and
Dude,
find
that's a
everything.
scary thought, especially for
Why do you think I
contractors.
said, like, again, these are why these things are going to become even more of an emphasis, like, especially in the climate that we're in. We've got huge, inflation issues and stuff like that. Where do you think they're going to come? Like, where do you think they're coming to look for that money?
Yep.
They've
Yep.
just pumped it in, printed trillions of dollars into the economy. They know, all right, blue collar businesses are famous, black markets, all that. Like, you're not going to be able to get away with that. Guys that are working for cash, guys that are, you
Taking
know,
cash. You're right.
you
That's a big thing.
don't
Yep.
do it. Just
Yep.
just don't do not do it. I've
Yep.
like, again, I know what's coming down the pipeline and what they have the capabilities, and they've had it for a while. The difference now is because it's more, I guess it's more understood. AI is going to be in everything, including taxes, and it
Yep.
already
They've
is. They've
already
been
been
using it. They've
yep,
been
they've
using
already
it.
been using it. Yep.
You do not want to mess around. And again, like I said, this is where you need a tax lawyer. This is where you need to know real answers. You need to have real facts. You need to have the real, and people that do this, like if ever there's a thing you're going to delegate, and then make that the priority. The first person that gets paid is the government, second is you. All right. And then we move down the line. And if your business can't deal with that, then close it down and go get a job. That's all I can
Yeah.
say. I know
Boy,
it's
is this
terrible. It's harsh. It's harsh to hear. And if you're in trouble already, okay, now's the time to talk to a tax lawyer. Now's the time before you talk. And I hope that nobody's in the situation. I understand if they are, but there's many companies. And I'll be honest with you. Probably the first decade that I operated, I was beyond insolvent. I was under an $8 million lawsuit. So again, that's so far in the red. You're never coming to the green, right?
yeah.
And that burden, that weight, that, like, it, I lost a decade of my life, right, of just trying to fight that. So again, for guys out there that don't know what to do and they're in that situation, the best thing you can do, all right, is get in touch with the right people. Get in touch with a tax lawyer. Get in touch. That is the best money you're ever going to spend, because he's going to tell you. He's going to flat out say, I can save this or I can't, or this is worth it or it's not. And separate yourself from that business. The way your business succeeds or doesn't succeed, no one gives a shit. All right. I think and I know I certainly did this, is my whole identity was tied to my business.
Right.
It was everything I did. I made the stupid move. I put my own name on it. All the mistakes, every mistake.
We all start off that way.
We all make the same ones, right? The stupid part was that I didn't have those people around me telling me to fold when I should have, and I followed it through, and you want to work really hard and play catch up and lose opportunity. That's the way to do it. Because again, here's a lot of guys out there that they should fold. If they're going to restart in the right structure, right frame. But I mean, you're in a limited liability, or you should be, hopefully, and you're structured properly. If you're just starting out, same thing. Listen to what I'm saying. Get these things right from the get-go. That is, you don't get a second chance at it. If you get it wrong, there's no oopsie. You can get a job wrong. You pay your price with, having to go back and do the callbacks and everything else. You get it wrong with the government, and by the time it's caught, there's no getting you out of it. Right. And that money that you've been collecting, especially guys collecting HST and stuff, thinking that, oh, well, it's just the money in the bank account. That's fire. Again, there's many, many dead bodies on the trail from, just that. Right. Like, they could be running a profitable business, but they blew it all in the first year by not paying their HST or paying their taxes.
There's probably a lot of people out there that are like,
I know I probably hit a nerve.
What the hell
I'm
is
not going to be popular.
What are these things?
Digging at
it's
that
a Canadian thing.
Yeah.
Boy, is this an uncomfortable conversation. I'm not sure we're going to do this again.
Yeah. Well, again, I bring it all with love. I bring it all with experience, and I'm not, listen to what I'm saying. Again, it's the message here is, we started off with owner's job. Pay yourself. Don't
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter if it's paying $1,000, whatever your lifestyle costs are, make sure that you're being compensated for it. Okay. Because if everything goes south, all right, what are you going to do? Right. So again, these are the reasons why, right? So again, paying yourself first, paying actually the government first, yourself second. All right. It will keep you out of a lot of trouble. Dealing with the other
statistic.
That's right.
All right. We'll do this. Let's do this again next
time
week,
with some theme music.
Yeah, with some theme music. Not John